We're heading up to Scotland for a road trip over the May Bank holiday weekend where we'll be exploring the Highlands, including some of the Harry Potter filming locations, before heading back down for a night in Edinburgh and then continuing on to Alnwick to visit the famous Poison Garden. Back at the start of the year, we made some curtains to fit on the inside of our car so we could camp overnight and did a trial run on George's parents' driveway. However, since this was early January, the overnight temperatures were very low, but with us now in May, we're expecting to have a much better sleep as the nights aren't as cold anymore. We'll start by heading to Glen Coe, where we'll be hiking 2 side-by-side peaks and also completing our first 2 Munros.
We've been driving for about 2 hours now, and we've got just under 2 hours left until we get to our hotel, which is just off the motorway anyway, so it won't be too far to basically just stop off, and then first thing in the morning we'll be back on the road. But we need to go and find somewhere to eat as well because we haven't eaten since lunch and it's 7:30.
I think we actually got quite lucky with the weather. So it's about 16 degrees. It's not cold, but it's also not roasting. It's not raining and the sun isn't beating down on us, so it makes for a fairly pleasant walk. But I think George actually hates me because the last time we went for a hike, I was just getting over a sickness. And now I've come on this hike and I'm just getting over a sickness, so I think he's just trying to punish me.
When we did our trial car camp back at the start of January, the temperatures there got down to like 5 degrees or something. Like, it was really cold. We weren't ready for that at all. And I looked last night, the car got down to about 10 degrees. So we should be fine for tonight. We should be plenty comfortable. It won't be like way too cold. And also because it's not raining, we can leave the roof open a little bit, which when we did the trial one wasn't open and the car was like filled with condensation by the end of it. So hopefully we can avoid that as well. So far, we've walked in a straight line from the car park on basically flat ground. And what you do is you go up this saddle here, but looking at the map, it looks like we're gonna go really flat and then just immediately up. So I don't know how we're gonna fare with that one.
Looks like it's finally time to start our ascent now. So wish us luck.
We made it to the first peak, which is here apparently, but another 10 meters vertical somewhere over there in the clouds, and that's the second peak.
We're finally at the peak, but we keep getting catfished because it's so cloudy you can't actually see it. So we keep thinking that we're getting there, and then we get there and there's still further to go. But there's people now saying, nearly there, you could do it. So we're very nearly at the top. It's a little bit cold up here, so we're going to head back towards the saddle to go and eat our soup. This soup is going to go down a treat. That's the stuff.
In total, that was about 7 kilometers horizontal, 700 meters vertical from here to the summit. And it was generally an easy hike. There was a bit of scrambling, but not a lot. And we felt it was harder than Snowdonia from Snowdon when we went at the end of last year. And if you look at the elevation profile, it's because Snowdon was like a fairly gentle uphill and then a little bit at the end that was a bit steeper, whereas this was all loads of like flat land and then immediately straight up. So that was why it felt way harder than Snowdon, because the incline was much bigger. Anyway, we're knackered and we're really hungry, so we're going to cook some burgers and then maybe find a pub to see if we can get some sticky toffee pudding and a beer.
Good news, we survived the night in the car. I actually got a surprisingly decent sleep. It got to about 14 degrees, which isn't too bad, and we had the sunroof open, so it didn't get quite as humid and sweaty in here as it did when we did the little trial run. Our plan for today is to go and see some of the Harry Potter filming locations, and at the minute we're on the way to the Glenfinnan Viaduct, which is the viaduct with the big the steam train that goes across it. So hopefully we'll make it in time for the train to go across.
Bit of a nightmare. We got to the Glenfinnan Visitor Centre car park and it's full, even though it's massive. And the guy basically pointed up the road and said, go that way, but there is no parking. There's literally no parking around here. So we found a lay-by about a mile down the road, and now we're walking up to go and see the train, which comes in 10 minutes, so it's gonna be close.
There's a viewpoint up there, and that was our original plan, to go and hike up to that to see it kind of top down. but we got here a bit late and then we couldn't find a parking space. So now, hopefully we're going to catch the train going across from down below, but we don't know if we've actually missed it. I don't think we have missed it because there's a ton of people still up at the viewpoint, and why else would they still be waiting?
I think I got the train time wrong. I read it was 10:30, but I've just read another thing that says it can be anywhere between 10:45 and 11, and it's 10:40 now, so I think any time in the next 20 minutes we should see it. And like Georgie says, if it had already been, there wouldn't be loads of people up on that viewpoint.
Great news, we didn't miss it. It was so cool. You just saw like the little puffs of smoke, like the steam. You can see it now behind me coming through the trees, and then I started filming in vertical, and then I stopped and then it started like tooting its horn, and I was like, oh. But we saw it and it was so good.
So they conveniently have a cafe here, which sells the best chocolate. That's the stuff. Our next destination is Dumbledore's grave, which is on one of the lochs that's about 15 or 20 minutes up the road from Glenfinnan Viaduct.
This here is Dumbledore's grave, and it's really cool to look at, but the loch that it's in is actually in multiple of the Harry Potter films. So I think it's the Black Lake. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely in the Prisoner of Azkaban where Hagrid is throwing the rocks into the loch. So that's cool. Now we're heading to one final loch, and then we're heading towards Edinburgh for the night. So if Dumbledore's grave is there, and Dumbledore's grave is in the Black Lake, that means Hogwarts is here somewhere. So this is our last stop before we head to Edinburgh, and this loch is used for a number of Harry Potter filming locations, but it's the one when they escape from Gringotts on the back of the dragon and they jump off the dragon into the lake. This is the loch that they jump into. We just had to pull over because we've spent the last 2 days in the Scottish Highlands and couldn't see Highland cows anywhere, and we've finally just spotted some and they're so cute. I'm not really sure how, but we ended up down this random road and there are a ton of Highland cows down it.
I think we should have haggis for breakfast more often. And then a minute later, he was like, okay, and then this one, if you touch it, it gives you 3rd degree burns. And I was like, this is what we're here for.